Hello, this is Chris Park from Arkin Games. This is just going to be a random watch me work and let's see what happens here. Specifically, what I'm going to work on is this darn bloom. Now, I'm using the bloom that is built into Unity's post-processing stack V1. Um, and the reason I'm using that instead of their V2 branch is that their V2 branch was causing some crashes for somebody on Linux amongst our customers. And it's not technically out of beta yet, their V2 branch. So I'm reluctant to move to that. There are some other good Bloom tools like Amplify Bloom, and I use that in other tools, but I'm reluctant to use that here because I don't want to have well, for one thing, I can't have that in the modding projects, so players can't test with it and see what it would actually look like. Modders can't. I may just have to go with that, and that just may be how it is. But in the meantime, I want to see what I can do with this post-processing profile here. So this is where we have the bloom on, and so this is what it looks like without it. Now, the threshold, what I'm tempted to do is crank the threshold way the heck up. Now, if I do that, I just can't get the response that I want out of it. Because if I do that, then for instance, I can come in here on the bomber, and on the bomber, I can crank up the brightness on this, and all right, so now it's plenty bright enough to hit the threshold of the other thing. So let's go back to the other side. Let's crank up the threshold again. Let's say let's try and tune this off the bomber here. All right, so that's funny that it wound up 5.67 on both of them. Okay, so we've got that. So the bomber's glowing. Basically, nothing else is. See, but right there, that's still glowing. And what that is that is a specular metallic highlight off of a glinting metal surface. So let's up this again. We're well out of the range, I think, at which something specular will glow. All right, so we'll call that at 14.81. All right, and our bomber, that's going to need to be at least 14 on the brightness scale now. So crank this way on up. There's a soft knee on this, as they call it. So it actually starts becoming bright a little bit before 14 and has a ramp up in, which may actually be working against me at the moment because the stuff that is a little bit more dim is coming out a lot more dim instead. So I may actually not want a soft knee. Let's try that out. Let's see what happens, or I might need a lot more of one. Yeah, I don't think so. Let's try it with a huge soft knee and then go from there. Oh, wow, that's such a huge soft knee that, all right, we're going to take that out completely. All right, so we're below the threshold of 14 point whatever. So that's why we're not seeing anything right now. All right, and then you see suddenly, bam, it pops on. That's the lack of soft knee. Now, unfortunately, that means that when we're having too little light come out of it there, yeah. Okay, so with this, what we're basically doing for making it so that it's brightness 30, so we can definitely see it from there. So of course it looks insane at this distance, but what we can theoretically do is turn down the intensity or turn up the radius. Yeah, now we've just got strobe lights. Yeah, their bloom just isn't all that hot. So let's see what's cooking with the Unity post-processing stack v2. Let's see what's cooking. Post-processing stack. So this is their GitHub version. It's been months since I tried this, so it's possible that this doesn't have problems anymore. But let's try Amplify Bloom. I'm gonna do that real quick. Amplify Bloom. And this is just something where modders would be unable to tell exactly how their bloom is going to look until they get into the game. It's just that would be the nature of this if this is what we wind up doing. Right, don't need samples. And bloom is going to be fake at best in the prep scene because it can't release the source of this or even a compiled version through the moddable section. And NDA, it's their copyright, and they would not really be able to sell this. I love those guys at Amplify Creations. They make so many things that that really make my life easier and that are really, really high quality. All right, so let's turn off our bloom here entirely. Let's make our bomber back in the sane range, sane-ish, 1.98, we'll say. All right. Now, I'm probably going to have to put Amplify Bloom before the rest of the post-processing stack. Yep, sure do, because it's downsampling. It's downsampling from HDR to LDR before that. So now we're in a J.J. Abrams film. Look at that, starburst and everything. Yeah. All right, so we don't want any of this mess. Hello. Click, click, click. All right. All right, we're done. Yeah. We do want the temporal filter, and that helps keep. And their temporal filter is so much better. It's really nice. The MIP count has a really direct impact on exactly how many batches this thing causes. So when I take this off, we've got batch. Good Lord, batch is 146. This is 1.4 million tries. 120. So that's 27 set pass calls. So we need high precision because there's a lot of small things. So what we need to do in order to make this work at all, 27 draw, Pascals is not the worst thing in the world, and they do get progressively smaller. If you look at the frame debugger, you can see that they're using render textures that get, I think, squared smaller. So it's not the end of the world. That said, let's downscale this to half because somebody with a 4K screen would be having an insane amount of overdraw from this. Next, let's take our MIP counts down. The MIP counts, that's their MIP mapping where they're basically halving it and then using blurs that way. And so as you can see, there's a direct relationship between the MIP count and the number of draw calls. Each MIP is quite a number of draw calls. That's one advantage that the Unity one has over theirs is doesn't have all those draw calls. I think it does it in one, but it does a bad job. So, bad job or, yeah. So the first thing, we want the threshold to be high enough that nothing reflective is glowing. We're not, all right, so we got a glow right there off of that. Good Lord. All right. So, yeah. Maybe that's just the universe here telling me that my direct lighting is too harsh. Maybe I should not be having a directional light in the scene and just rely on IBL. The IBL is certainly very pretty. If I turn off the direct light, then we don't have any source of shadows or anything. We don't have any source of that specular overkill, basically. I could see doing this. If we did that, though, then what that would mean is I'm going to need to adjust the ambient lighting, which is coming off of this. So, okay, I don't have anything static in here, so it's not really generating. We're going to need to put something static in this scene so that it'll actually not just a random game object. I'm going to need to put a little cube. 3D object, cube, invisicube. And I don't really care where the cube is, but it needs to be static. And I will put it on the water layer. And I will say to the camera, don't you draw the water layer. Thank you very much. Where am I? Don't draw the water layer. Invisicube, you are static. Good. Now let's bake some light maps. It thinks it's baking some reflection probes for some reason. I don't have any reflection probes in here. Interesting. It still thinks it has no light maps. I have a static object. You should have a light map. Don't really want this thing up in my face, but hey, here we go. All right. Maybe there's something special about the water layer that makes it. It's one of the built-in layers. I've never really done much with it, to be honest. Still no light maps. But there is one right there. It's the object map. Lighting data right there. Sure. Okay. Oh, it's because it got mixed lighting off. Stupid. I don't want mixed lighting on, really. Okay. I'm really not used to dealing with just real-time baked light or real-time baked GI. Let's put it that way. So, what if I had a strong directional source of environmental light? Something that's a lot darker on one side than the other. Hmm. I mean, I managed to make it look all washed out right now. But that's to be expected. Excuse me for that. All right, so I mean, this is our cube map that we're using right now. So let's visit our friends at HDRI Haven. HDRI Haven. And let's see what they've got. Let's try some night ones that won't be too bright. Lit from above more so. That's kind of cool. Very dark on the bottom, very light on the top. Very light in a middling section there. Let's try these. We will take quite a small version because we don't need a bunch of detail off of this. We just need the general idea. Standard assets, ZDupe, HDR Haven. Got it. Standard assets, ZDupe, HDR Haven, Moonless Golf. Try that. And this Dresden night station night was pretty interesting. Let's try this. And Satara night, that was kind of interesting also. Preller Drive, that has some promise. And let's just see what these do. Bear in mind that the brightness is going to have a big impact here. So it's not just about the HDRI map. What's happening? These aren't in as cube maps. Boom. Yep. I missed Dresden night. And, I put a couple in here at once so that I can just flip between them kind of quickly. I think that's still using the old one. Yep, sure was. One is just too bright. Oh boy. Caught me in the middle. Hey. Okay, we will stick here. So this is the Dresden Night one. Now I'm less concerned with how like weird that looks than I am with how some of the stuff in the new setup looks. So where is this? Okay, so this is one of the new ones, and that's what it looks like. It's very, very one-sided. Let's see. Where's my... Here. Okay. So, I mean, despite the one-sidedness of it, it looks pretty decent. It's not my favorite in the world, but let's see what happens if we mess with this a little more here. So, moonless golf. That actually changed anything immediately? No. So you really do have to bake it. So that's interesting. Now some of this stuff looks really wrong because it's using non-proper shaders, and it just hadn't finished baking actually. All right, so this one I might be able to crank up to 1. Hey, let me type. What's your problem? All right, so this is, I believe, lit more on one side than the other. That's what it looks like to me anyway. I take that very positively, but we're not getting any specular highlights off of it. Oh shoot, I'm an idiot. I can turn off specular highlights in the amplify shaders. I got those guys to add that specifically for me. All right. So where's this guy? Okay. This is kind of cool in general. It has a kind of serious look to it. It's not as... So it's darker there. Neat. Let's try turning back on the sunlight here. It's probably going to wash it out like crazy. I do like how those two lights mix. That's just so strong in a good way. I mean, just so compelling to me, this particular mix. And I'm not getting like overly specular crinkles basically off of this, but you can see it's kind of pipping there, little blip, 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 blip. This is with Amplify. Now, let's not be stupid, and let's go in here and adjust this shader. So, don't I have... Oh God, I don't even have instancing turned on this. Don't I have Amplify Shader Editor in here? I do. Okay. Let me get the update though. Shader Editor. I told you, these guys make awesome stuff. I have this updated in a different project for my other game that I'm working on, but not for AI War 2 yet. So what I'm thinking I can do is get specular highlights turned off, have the reflection probe stuff on and working. All looks good. All right, import. I gotta have instancing turned on these. Performance will be abysmal without instancing on. I gotta remember to put that in the next video as a reminder. It's not something that needed to be in the first time you set up a LOD0 of a new ship, but it does need to be done before the ship is brought into the game for real use, which is probably the next video I'll do, but I can't really do that next video until we have some sane bloom, because nobody can set sensible emission amounts on their light sources if the bloom is just going nuts. So this is one of those fun times where you just kind of get to sit here and think about what you're going to do, or in my case, kind of chatter about it to you for the moment. And of course, the progress bar is a lie. You have no idea how long it's going to take, and fun times. It used to be that the only time I ever had to wait for anything, for the longest time working with 2D, was pretty much compiling, I guess, or really starting the game. Compiling maybe take 10 seconds or so, and then starting the game, like for Stars Beyond Reach or If I Live in That Wind or something, that could take like 30 seconds or something, maybe a little longer than that, even prior to us shifting to using solid state drives. But now, even on an SSD, you've got really heavy calculations that are going on, and just so much data getting pushed through. It's unreal. It's Unity, but anyway. Keep thinking it's going to jump to the end and be done, but literally I can't do anything in this particular window at the moment. If I had some code that I wanted to write at the moment, which I don't, then I could switch over and work on that. If I had something to do in the modding or GUI project, which I don't, then I could switch over there. Or if I needed to test something in the main game, which I don't, I really only have one thing on my mind right now, which is Bloom and the specular highlights here, and I guess the instancing, but all of those are in this. So, all right. So now it's compiling. I think now it's actually reloading the domain assemblies. I've had some really interesting conversations lately with the Unity staff, some of them that are working on the assembly definition files. I was beta testing that. That is some cool stuff. Why is this not? Yeah. Did I delete out the? May have deleted out the. I did. So That Top Gun, we're sorry to inform you your sons are dead because they were stupid. I was so sure I wasn't going to need that again. Where did I put this? I put it under Arc and Shaders, of course. Okay. All right, I've got the Arc and Alloy core replacement. I'm going to go ahead and work on this. Conversion complete. Interesting. Conversion complete. Well, Alloy guys, I don't think you managed it. You didn't convert anything because I don't see my nodes or anything. Dang. That eats everything. I'll have to bring that up to them. Well, okay, that one worked. My Nebula Skybox is fine, which is interesting because it's an older shader too. I think they did a few things to make stuff more efficient, so may as well save it. And the one with the gradient too, why not? That was a custom one I made, I want to say. Yeah, I don't think that was a... These ones, amped metal and stuff, these are older, and they're fine. Interesting. All right, but what I can do is there are new switches, forward reflections, and specular highlight toggles. Enable instancing. Why is that not there? Force no shadow casting. Sure, I don't want any shadow casting. Cool. That's not for this shader. That's for some of these other ones. Well, let's see what we got here. All right, so amped metal animated. That's for that one. Enable instancing is forced on. That's oh, it's because I've got instance properties. That's why. Force no shadow casting and happiness. Amped metal map. Boop, 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 boop. Amped metal specular map. Boop, 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 boop. Animated line shader and some of these others. These are for some of the other special effects. I go ahead and turn that on just in case. Electric animation. I don't think that's that. I can't remember though. Old append is deprecated and replaced by append. Okay. That's fine with me. Space Mouse is working again. It's good. Okay, so notice we've got these specular highlights here. Now this should be using amped metal. Yep, sure is. Now I've got specular highlight. This is like the standard shader now. I can turn this off and bam, no specular highlights. And yet I have a directional light still, which means that I have darkness and shadow, a dark side and a light side, which is what I want. Well, golly, that's what I should have been doing all this time. All this time. It's funny what working on multiple games will teach you, because you wind up learning stuff from each of them and see, like, look at all the little blips and blops on that. And I click in here a little better. Hmm. Okay. So right now it's very, very dark. What I want to do is take the sunlight and turn this up. Whoa, not that much. This makes it really clear there's a light side and a dark side to this. But the dark side is still visually interesting. I'm going to need to adjust the IBL on this. And really, I should be looking at my newer shaders here. Not that, this. And of course, this is still having its specular highlights flickering around because, yeah. All right. Let's edit these by hand. I don't feel like going in and trying to recreate this stuff. So open this in the text editor too. What's new? We've got this header. All right. Combined emissive. I want to go ahead and do more than just that though. So we've got combined alloy core replacement. Alloy core replacement emissive. I think these are the only ones I care about. So, amp specular map. What else you doing here? Force no shadow casting true. Is emissive true? Yeah, okay. Render type opaque. Sure. Force no shadow casting. Did I just splice that wrong? Nope. Doing good. Okay. Doesn't have any complaints about any of this, so cool. Metal specular map. What do we have here? Got a fixed 2 UV coordinate. Why is that different? What is it different from? It's a fixed 2 now instead of a float 2. Interesting. Hmm. It's got these multi-compile instancing here. Interesting. It's really just those two. Oh, look at that. They've made their code so nicely more efficient. Good for them. Makes my code nicely more efficient too. Look at that. I like that. Now, unpack normal. I don't think I need to do that. I don't think I need to make the change that they're making. Some of that's just formatting shifts. All right, let's see if this works. So I want the plasma torpedo launcher here. See if I can get a specular highlight. There we go, right there. Don't want that. Perfect. Does indeed work. And we get a flatter look off of that, but that's okay. We're not getting bloom insanity, which I think is more important. All right, bomber. Not that bomber, this bomber. Specular highlights off. And obviously it's lighting bloom is nuts. That's fine. Enable instancing. Now I'm inclined to see if I can go back. Okay, 1.35 on the sunlight. Let's try and revert this. But you didn't revert at all. All right, get rid of that. Make it clearer light side. Main game camera, over to the main game post-processing thing here, and we'll turn back on the bloom. Now, frankly, what I'm gonna do is just revert that to what I had in the prior version. So I was pretty happy with that, aside from the specular glow. Wow, this looks weird. What do we got going on here? Why does this look so weird? Is this the color grading? What's happening? Is it simply the threshold being where it's at that's causing? Oh, I bet it's not using this at all. Or something. What's going on here? Save the scene and reopen it. Because sometimes that works. This time it didn't. Let's see. Here's my ridiculously bright little bomber. Let's take a look at this lighting. All right, so first of all, IBL skybox source. You can always go back to the wooden lounge. And then let's generate the lighting. Okay, so that gives us more or less what we had before. And the reason I liked the wooden lounge is because, yeah. The reason I like the wooden lounge is because it has a very warm set of colors to it. Okay, so for some reason that was just messing with me. All right, whatever. Let's go back to, let's try Preller Drive. Very dim in a lot of ways, but it has that interesting blue and green mix and a bright line down the center. I feel like that could give some interesting lighting when we're talking about IBL. And of course, we're also talking here about a sunlight, which is pretty intense. So can down this a little bit. I want to be able to see what this tractor turret looks like with the specular highlights off. Okay. So now that that is taken care of, granted, this is a very flat shaded thing, so grains of salt on how things will look in the end. If I up the ambient intensity here, not a fan. So let's try that Preller Drive, Satara Night. That was another interesting one because it's so bright in the middle. Probably too bright in the middle, but I've got the intensity set at 1.78 on the skybox based lighting right now, so that's pretty nuts. Not going to keep it there, obviously. Why aren't you letting me type? Seriously. Okay, so this is very golden now, which makes sense given the style of light. If I was wanting to keep this, I would probably set this up as a bluer light. And of course, that gets crazy on them, but I'm going to ignore that because what I care about are the ones that don't have their oh, cool. We've got a warm side and a cool side. What a neat effect. Very cool and cold and very warm. Although that's even a little better. I don't want shadows when they're doing. What if we change the IBL side to be more blue instead? So what do we got for that? Preller Drive again. What about a very dark Preller Drive? Can that work? Because I'd rather the direct light side be the one that's warmer. And then the cooler side be the one that's, look at that. This thing is set to not have specular highlights, but it's getting specular highlights from the ambient light, I think. No? What is it getting that from? Reflections? Yeah, it's getting that from the reflections. Oh, interesting. Well, that's something kind of cool, actually. And for some reason, I haven't been considering the degree to which the reflection maps are affecting the rest of all this. So what if what if we keep our kind of dim blue lighting here, then our environment reflections come from something else. The Studio HDRI was something I was using a while ago. Don't want that. Windless golf. No. And then the intensity multiplier, can be anything that I want. We wind up with reflection highlights instead of I can probably save some calculations on the GPU if I just turn the reflection bits off. I do none, turn that down to 0, turn this intensity up a little bit, and then getting a flatter look out of this, but that's okay. Turn off reflections on this, which really shouldn't make any visual difference anymore because there aren't any. There's no source of them. It's good. And just, I'm winding up with unexpected results with the reflections, and I'm tired of that. I'm tired of, it's at this slight angle, it's getting a weird result. And it was being overly harsh on my normal maps there. Okay, so when I look at this from further away, that looks pretty cool. But again, it's very, very one-sided. So now, what do I have as my ideal light source here? What if I underexpose this? Or what if I shift this towards blue some? It's probably going to be way too much. Interesting. It's not affecting that at all. Huh. Why isn't that affecting it? Probably because I have to bake it. Interesting. Let's try. Yeah, because I had to bake it. And of course, that looks ridiculous and cartoony, but it's a good kind of case study there, I guess. So let's try this. And notice it's not baking any reflection probes anymore since there's no environment reflections even. Okay, so we have a definite light and dark side, but this dark side is kind of nuts. What if I do this, but just underexpose it a little? I feel better about that. There's a limit to how sharp I want the contrast to be on this. I want there to be contrast, but I don't want it to be insanely so. And we get a cool view here. It's not full out Tron, you know what I mean? But but it has a definite, we're seeing lights and silhouette more than we're seeing anything else. And then on this side, we're getting more of Star Wars, where it's like, all right, that kind of whitish, you know, full lit look to it. So I feel like that's a good compromise. What have we done to the arcs with this? So I'm kind of feeling pretty good about this. How about our old Rorqual friend here? It's really not making much of a difference, which is in the end what we want, because I don't want this to look insanely different. It's looking a little on the warm side. So this sunlight trended a little more towards white. It's a little much. Brighten it a little. Something about this says space to me more when it's just a little bit lighter like this. When I'm looking at these big ships, it seems more obvious. I really like that kind of Star Warsy feel to the littler one, but when I'm looking at these big ships, this just feels more AI war to me. And we have the nice dark side still here. I can dig it. All right. So now the question becomes, do we accept these flickery lights? No, we can't accept that. Amplify bloom it is. I'm sorry, modders. And of course, this is double exposing. Goodbye to that bloom. And of course, it's also doing a insane sort of bloom in general. Temporal filter. Do we want the starburst? I don't know. No, we really don't. Okay. There's realistic and there's natural. I think natural was the one I was using before and liking pretty well. Precision high, source downscale half. Threshold, turn that well on up to like 1.1. Oh, what a rich color. Look at that. Okay, I'm gonna turn that up a bit and then turn the threshold up even more. Down just a bit. I think this is actually having some specular issues, most likely. It probably uses the same, yep, same shader. So that flicker isn't a specular issue, that's a amount of glow issue, but I'm not seeing that sort of flicker in just the slightest bit. So let's see what we can do with the temporal filter here. And also, set Pascal is 33. How much of that is amplify? Yeah, a lot of it. All right. Temporal filter. We'll deal with that in a minute. First of all, let's get our MIPS down. The MIPS ultimately is how many Gaussian blur passes there are, and that winds up contributing to the overarching scale of the effect as well. And I don't really want the scale to be too wide. If I want it wider, there are ways of doing that too, such as the blur radius and so on. I think I do want it to be slightly wider than this. So okay. I think that's pretty good. Just wanting ignore this on that other side. Wanting a good glow where this feels like it's, burning. I want these to feel like they're lit, which I would argue those do. I want these things to not flicker. I think we're going to need to up the intensity a little. Let's just see where we're actually getting glow from there. Okay, just for the sake of argument. Okay, cool. I think that might be good. Now, this filter curve. Let's try this. Might be slightly better. Hey. I mean, that's awful with it off completely. It's been a long time since I read the documentation on their stuff. Woohoo! Look at that. That's the ghosting you get if your filter is a certain way. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Enough with that. Okay, no more ghosting. What a pain in the rear. It's because everything's so far away and everything's really small. A lot of small light sources that are far away. It's not really a recipe for a lack of flicker. And I'm worried that those flickers are going to give people headaches and just in general be an eye strain. And the more contrast there is in general as well, the more flicker or the more strain there is on things. So what if we do this? We can try taking this, try pulling this up to about 0.58. That flickers, but how's the rest? That feels pretty stable. Okay, so now I think the problem is actually in this ship. It's too bright. So we'll down this a little bit. Still looks like it's glowing, but it's not killing me with the glow. Still in the HDR range, but it's not insane. That's cool. We've got a Tron look to it, but it's just not that same killer feel to it, which I just don't like. I don't find that headachy anymore. It doesn't look so ridiculously intense. When I come down, I can see other sections which are nicely intense, but maybe a little too much still. Probably shouldn't go over 2, maybe even not over 1.8 on intensity in general. I don't know. What is this? 2.07. All right, fine. Not much over 2, and it's really going to depend on the original source, of course. This one here is an old specular highlight. So that's the problem with that. Good Lord, what a circus. This is not even specular highlights. This is just the emission. Oh my God. Emission power of 50. Yeah, I mean, you get the idea with that without it just being freaking nuts. It's going to be repainted anyway. So, yeah. I mean, you get that Tron feel without being blinded. Because that's what it was before. It's just blinding. One of those things that just really bothered me, but you know, you have to kind of let it sit and you have to think about it. And I wasn't real sure what I wanted to do to fix it. And boy, these things need some paint too, because they're dull, dull, dull at the moment. You know, Blue did a good job in the cell shaded style, but now that we're getting flatter lighting and so forth, it really takes the newer painting to make them stand out. So these look incredibly matte at the moment. And that's okay in the main. I really liked that interplay of light, red, and the other, but such is life. All right. Now to this bomber that I did ridiculous things with. How are we doing here, bomber? 1, 1, 1. Let's reset you. And let's really reset this. Okay, I need to get this thing turned down a bit back because it is distracting my eyes. So close and so bright. Calm down. Oh, yeah, may as well get rid of the specular flicker while I'm at it. All right. Bomber. You are too dark. What is up with you? This has come through as being extremely occluded for some reason, I think. Okay. Let's have a nice hint of a glow without being ridiculous. Now, what's going on with the rest of you? Roughness, up, down, yeah, whatever. Occlusion. Well, must be the metalness. Being set as too metallic. And then the roughness is not being set much at all. Interesting. I can adjust the occlusion multiplier down, and ironically, it makes the dark side darker. You would think it would be the opposite, but it's not. And I can actually increase the normal maps here beyond their normal range to give that a little bit extra strength. That would have looked insanely bad with the specular highlights. I'll show you. Yeah. But with the specular highlights off, we can go for ridiculous overdone normals, and it's not a problem. This thing's got a real flat color to it. What happened here? This is not. Not gonna darken it any. We're just gonna give it a little bit of a tint. Yeah. A little bit of a cold tint even. Okay. Cool. I like it. I really like that patch on the back there too. And you can definitely feel the glow off of it. A lot of it has to do with contrast versus bloom. You know, bloom is important, and there is bloom there. You can see it, but it's not overwhelming. And if I wasn't telling you, hey, there's bloom, and you just were looking at this, you might not really notice it, even though it's affecting your perception of the brightness of this thing. You know, and this spider is just nuts too. It's another one of the ones that is just really overdone by me. I take full responsibility, but by me. Okay. So, bomber, pretty happy with that. Can live with that. I don't think there's anything to apply that isn't just in a material which is separate, but go ahead and do it anyway. It's a little on the bright side now, I think. There we go. I think this is more in keeping with the revised feeling of bloom that we're going for. You get the idea, that's glowing, but it's not overpowering. Do I want to change the central light anymore? Should this be brighter? Whoa. Gonna ignore that other stuff and just focus here. Okay, it's too bright. What is that? I think this is probably actually good. Can see the detail pretty well here. And then the darkness is even more, feels a little more spacey in some ways. Because there's not atmosphere to block and diffuse light in space. Yeah. Yeah. I do wish I could do a softer specular highlight. Although at this point it's not even really mattering. It's a very flat look, I have to say. This looks a lot flatter than some of what I was doing over here. This looks flatter now too. This whole night of bust See, and that looks weird and washed out now. Let's try the skybox as a reflection source again. Really don't like having uncontrolled sources of light in here. Sources of highlight specifically. But this thing has its bump scale turned way down. That's what's going on with that guy. Okay. Because I had to turn that down because it was going nuts before. Okay, let's try this. Generate lighting. Yes. Okay. Here we go. All right. Yeah, do my bad impression of McConaughey. Okay. Bump scale. Big enough that I can feel it, but not so big that it's annoying. Vents. Turn down your light a little. Reason why the numbers are different on this is because the actual vents themselves are dimmer. All right, we'll crank up your bump scale some. Okay. Just trying to get a feel for what I'm working on here. Wow, that almost has like a cell shaded feeling to it. It's kind of funny. All right, we're just going to stick with one. It will not let me type tonight. Maybe numlock is messed up at the moment. All right, and the last one, these bottom vents here. Good enough. A lot of visually interesting details on that. Rorqual. Let's see you again. Whoa, this normal map's practically off. And it's not making any difference. That harsh lighting before was what was really causing me to have to adjust the normal maps like crazy. And on this, I was adjusting the normal maps so that they would spread their shadow a lot. Go a little over 1 on that. Do the same there. All right, call that one done. Here we go. This guy's still looking pretty good, all things considered. I think my ambient light is a little low. Come on now. Maybe something a little better than that. Okay, I'm feeling that with the normal maps really feel the crag, but I'm still getting brightness. Okay, I dig it. Oh, wait, I have specular still turned on this, don't I? I do. That's what's going on with that. Oh boy, that just gets flat and boring, doesn't it? Oh man, how awful. What a difference. Look at that. I can't have so many competing styles in here. Ugh. All right, specular highlights, you're off the bench. Not happy. Oop. All right. We're going to play the insane threshold game again. I'm going to treat this like, dang it, my stupid numlock, I guess. Yep, numlock. All right. Threshold 200. We are going to pretend like we are a telecom and we are running multiple frequencies over the same copper wire. And we're going to separate out what is natural from light and what is unnatural. And, in specular highlights, light and specular highlights, and what is unnatural, which are the things I want to seem like they glow. So here in this asteroid base part, golly, while I'm at it, I'm going to turn back having reflections again, because that was adding some good depth. All right. Let's go back some. So ISVN is nice. Okay. Yeah. Million amplify shader things changed. Amplify bloom got added. Yeah. IBL skybox, reflection probe, lighting data, scale examples, refer to all of those. That is my lighting profile. All right. Do I want to reload the scene? Yes, I do. Okay. Too crunchy. Although let's see how it looks in here. Yep, too crunchy. That's what I thought. So why is that? What's going on here? Hmm. Let's regenerate the lighting. Okay, that's what it was before. Turning off reflectivity can have some unexpected side effects, as you see, basically making it feel like it's disconnected from the environment. And but this is not appropriate. Um, it's different with my tone mapping or something. What is going on here? Okay, I'm going to turn off the reflectivity here again, because that was working at one point. It felt better at one point. And now I'm going to start looking at my post-processing stack again and see what's going on. Way! Oh, I didn't ever apply this prefab, so that's what's going on. All right. Interestingly, I'm not really feeling my color grading right now. My whites are getting too white. Um, and also interesting, it's not applying the color grading over there, which it's supposed to. This makes the star field a lot darker, but I mean, I can live with that. And I'm just dealing with the natural light here. I wonder if yeah, it's just towards the corner. The chromatic aberration that Unity has is not the best. All right. If I turn this to no reflections, what do we get? Really? You're baking reflection probes? What are you baking? Okay, fine. I mean, now it's making a reflection probe, but a minute ago it shouldn't have been. Okay, so yeah, that sort of brightness is, I mean, that's too much, but in general, the idea of that brightness is good. I'm getting the effect of almost quasi tone mapping simply by having the real bright stuff from that side. All right, so let's mess with our IBL light box again here. See what we can get. All right, so we've got a really not real thrilled about having such a. Let's try the Sitaranite again. No. Parallel drive. Okay. So it was the ambient lighting on the back side of this asteroid that was causing it to look funky. That looks pretty realistic. We've got some nice little details going on in there. It's not perfect, but on this sort of GPU budget per object, we're not going to have perfect. I'd have to use way more effects to get it, perfect. So let's see here. Oh, I forgot though. The other thing I wanted to do with this, we don't have a glow. We don't have any glow at all. We don't even have the feeling of glow, which is fine. I did that on purpose. Oh, we don't have, well, I didn't do this part on purpose. We don't have amplify bloom on here. Can I get away without amplify? Let's try it one more time. Bloom, threshold, 200, soft knee, none. Asteroid base, mission color, whatever, 200. There. Oh, won't let me go over 99? Kidding me? All right. Didn't know that. Never tried. All right, so 99 then. Well, apparently a little less than 99. Let's try 70-ish. I mean, that's too bright, but I'm wanting to have room to work here. All right, so if I get this dimmer, it's all jumpy because it's the Unity. Unity's cruddy version. No, Unity, will not use your bloom. Sorry. And, yes, of course, this looks insane right now because it's so bright. All right, so threshold. Let's try 90. Let's see what happens at 90. Get rid of this stuff. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Settings 3. Let's try 95. Precision high. Half on that. Intensity 0.8, whatever. Okay. It's interesting. I think this is just eating the G buffer, whatever it is, that you just can't cope with that degree of brightness. What a mess. Granted, if I have it capped at that and I can make it glow the way that I want, I don't really care beyond that bit. So as long as I'm happy with the glow, I don't care where I'm having to set the brightness of the glow. The reason I say what a mess is because I'm worried about I don't have temporal filter turned on. I'm concerned about specular highlights getting me again. Um, so I mean, this looks good. Oh, I wonder what natural would do if I was using natural before. I wonder if that's what the difference is with this. Maybe. Okay. That obviously looks terrible, but um, and now I can adjust my MIP settings. What? Only 2 MIP maps. Thank you. Blur radius up slightly on each one. We're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there for sure. See, we've got some glow there. It feels like it's got many more maps than it does. Maybe overloading the temporal side of things with that degree of Gaussian blur. Hmm. What all is supposed to be glowing on this? That obviously, and then those things too. See, there's right there. That's the point when the specularity kicks in. So needs to be well above that threshold. And there actually is a glow on these. It's just subtle and you have to get close. So that's nice because detail that people can only see when they get close is still fine. Um, it there's a lot of things in life that you have to go in close to check it out, see what it really looks like, and then your mind fills in the blanks between there. So this is not feeling so flat. I'm happier. I'm a lot happier. What are we doing to the draw calls here? Set pass calls 37 with, without, 28. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. Okay. Okay. I'm going to apply this. Let's go see if we can make anything else look reasonable with this approach. First of all, are we getting any specular highlights off of stuff? First answer, like bad specular highlights, specular flickering. Answer looks like no. Now when I select this guy, I turn specular highlights and reflections back on, suddenly he looks cool again. And he's already got them on. This guy, ditto. Suddenly he looks like he fits. Ditto. How are we doing on these? Are we going to get flickering on that? No. Oh, getting flickering off of that thing. What is that? Are those actual lights? They are not. Darn it. Look at that. Getting caught in the bloom. I have to go to 315 before that doesn't happen. Man, that's bright. Man, that's bright. Do not like. All right. Well, now I've probably wrecked the glow from the from this guy. Can it be recovered? First of all, is the bloom effect doing anything? No. Fair. I wouldn't expect it to. Where'd it go? Ninja Hideout. Current brightness was only 14, so okay. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. I can still crank it into a range that works. Ah. Means the threshold limit of 320 is kind of, I don't know what sort of math is happening that says that, you know, this multiplier here winds up being anywhere near 320, but whatever it is, I don't care. It works. All right. We get anything else that's got specular insanity going on? I don't think so. All right. So we got a bunch of stuff that looks all flat. That's fine. These are mostly things that I busted up earlier. Turn the specularity back on. Do we get any flickering off of this from any angle? No. But suddenly we have depth to it again, which is good. And that's even on the old shader. I mean, it'll look much, 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 much better once we have a repainted version. And there's the spider again, looking like he's actually spidery. What's happening? Okay. Oh yeah, good. This should look cool again, I hope. Yeah, wait. Yeah. Oh, I just love that. And it's not overglowing. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, I love that red and blue mix there and how it shines in the light. That's one of my favorite things. I just love it. Now, the bomber that I did, it's not in here anymore because I didn't save the scene before. Now it's back and okay, now it's just integrated with the scene a little more. All right. Ooh, what a cool, oh, look at that. What a cool, are you kidding me? I saw it. It happened right there. Blink, blink. Having to work hard to do it, but it's there. Tiniest of specular. Ah, there it went. Come on, you dirty little light pop. You little seizure-causing artifact. Come out and face me like a photon. Seems to only happen when I'm moving at speed for some reason. I am using a 3D mouse, so my movements of my fingers are not 100% precise. What I want to do is have it stick. Perfect. All right. Quickly to the post-processing cave. 315.9, not enough for you, huh? 400.7. Pop now. Okay. Special Forces Ninja Hideout. Busted again. This guy just can't catch a break. But he's only at 19 point whatever. So we have room. And he's glowing again. And Chris is happy again. Glowing and really unlikely that we're going to have any severe specular pops. Let's check out that bomber again. Okay. Very dark, dark bomber. I think. Oh my. Oh gosh. Kidding me? Get metallic enough. You start getting those specular pops. 600, 671. Good Lord. Wonder if Blue did this on purpose. This like ultra black look. There is something to be said for it. I mean, that is wicked looking. Having that move against, stuff that's brighter. Maybe I was wrecking her vision there with shifting it. Just assumed it had to be wrong. Kind of a bad assumption. Hey, select. Highlight. Come on now. Take me there. When the F key decides it no longer wants to work. See, look at this. The nature of the light that's coming out of this is changing now. It's not as uniform as it once was. You can go back in the video and look. It's no longer... Okay, so just shifting it slightly more red fixes that. Even so, there's more detail on the light source now than there was. There are pros and cons to that, I think. We've picked up a flicker. Why do we have a flicker now? Because smaller pieces of it are contributing to the light. That's why we have a flicker. That's why we have a flicker. If I do this, still flicker. Still flicker. Maybe my theory is wrong. still, when I don't have 6 bitmaps and instead only have 2, is that seizure inducing? Not this part, the section there. It's hard to say. Whoa. Okay, so the blur radius, I think, is starting to get me because that was not mattering before in the same way. Two. Whoa. .05 at the moment. 0.087. Maybe it's just the intensity shifting everything. That gives a bit of motion blur to the bloom, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but I'm not real thrilled about that. It'll look real cool on shots, that's for sure. But yeesh. Don't understand it, don't understand it. Some of this is happening related to oblique angles, I feel like. Okay. The blur there is subtle enough. I mean, the bloom there is subtle enough to get the idea of the blur, but the flickering is not immediately apparent. I mean, it's there. Why does it flicker so badly? See, that doesn't flicker at all, but now it smears. Which, again, has some pros and cons. It will really help the illusion of movement, but how distracting is it going to be? It might work to my advantage if I make the bloom even more subtle, like I just did. Let's give this a try. Bomber. Let's get you lit. Have a drink, Sonny. So this shows the severe undesirability already. It worked in that one instance, but that's about it with the bloom. Let's work on lighting this. This is a very different test case. So let's take our temporal filter down, MIP settings, 1, 1. Well, this isn't all that flickery. That other thing is just inherently flickery, apparently. And if some things are going to flicker a little more than others, I can deal with that. Okay. Got a good feeling of bloom off of this. Rotating around it. No flickering. Okay, we've got a bunch of harsh banding right there. Don't like that. That has to do with the MIP settings, I'm pretty sure. Gonna up the blur radius or down it. Wonder if I can down it. Oh, you have to up it and up this one too. All right, cool. May need a third MIP map here. Yep, sure do. Okay. It's costing me a few set pass calls, but that's okay. I will take it. Being bloody efficient with this game as it is, it's okay. All right. Bad aliasing, but simply too bright. There. There. Hmm. The highest I can go right here before I get aliasing. Approximately, nope, too much. About that. Yeah, when I'm further off, bloom may as well not exist when you're a little further off. Wonder if I switch back to their realistic technique. What are we gonna get? Strobe lights, essentially. That's what we're gonna get. 681. Add this with fresh settings. Oh, range on this. Need to have a range of like 6,000. Whoa, that's nuts though. Oh, LDR tweakable range. Oh, okay. Peculiar. Interesting. Their realistic versus their natural one work very differently. Oh, it's probably because I have the range set to 100 instead of 5. What's going on? Ultimately, I'm not in love with the bloom. I just have to say, you know? Keep thinking if there's a way to light map things, but no, it wouldn't show right. But is there a bloomless way that I could set this all up? Do I want color grading that I had before? This makes everything brighter, but no, I don't want that. Too bright, too washed out. All right, so I don't have any bloom. Don't have any bloom. Never tried that before. I don't think the emissive property is going to do anything without any bloom. Yeah, it changes the color of that. Does that change based on the angle of view? That would give the illusion of light still. I guess it kind of does. And it's obviously still lighting up on the dark side of things. So there is that. I mean, that feels like it's lit, and I can see the specular. Yeah, okay. Maybe Maybe bloomless is the way to go. Let's see our venerable ninja hideout. So rock-wise, looking good, especially from that side. Continue to circle around. I'm happy. This feels like it's glowing. Not seeing a bloom, but that's okay. That's okay. That goes nuts. I can still feel the glow. Oh God. Now I can feel it even more. Good. No bloom, glow nonetheless. I could get used to this. Interesting. The IPL really is not contributing much until it's pretty darn high. That's a interesting realization. Okay, so now we come back to the question of, do this directional light, do I keep it? No directional light, and this is what we get. The IBL, boy, that looks awful. Things are blended better. Still feel the dark side on this, but I can still see more details. All right, I'm happy with my rock. What about other stuff? I don't actually care about the tractor turret. I'm not sure why I'm going to that. How about the bomber? All right. This thing is a puzzle, that's for sure. That is awfully darn bright. There we go. And then I can just go up on the brightness, I think. Nope, I killed it. There we go. Okay. That just doesn't look right with the yellows, the way that she had it, which she wouldn't have known from inside Substance Painter. But now I get the feeling of what this is. Oh, and I killed it. There we go. The metalness still tad on the high side. Down that just a bit. Now it's still this like Death Trooper type look, but not quite so insane. Oh, the normal map is cranked up to 1.5. That probably wasn't helping things. That looks cool. That just looks cool, I have to say. Well done, Blue. All right, Bomber, you're done. Amplify Bloom, I'm gonna take you out. Take you out back. Sorry there, kiddo. All right. I may have to recolor grade all those stupid space backgrounds that I darkened. Unity. Come on. Oh, right. Just deleted a bunch of stuff, so no wonder it was thinking for a bit. Speaking of that, should be able to just revert some of the material changes I made that I don't care about anymore. So arc, both the arcs, let's get those back to the way they were. I'll deal with those again if I need to. Plasma torpedo launcher, I'll deal with it in a minute. All the other stuff is new. Oop, nope, this stuff isn't new. Okay. Well, these look more interesting again. And thoroughly evil, might I add. All right. All right. So final game assets, we've got the what's the other one that I added? It was a turret. That's right. Plasma torpedo launcher. There's one good looking turret. All right. Now have to go into the HDR range here to fake the glow that no longer exists, but it works. Check that out. Check that out. No bloom. Ultimate test real quick. Dyson sphere. All right, first of all, I can hardly see this thing now. Um, yeah. All right, I can feel the glowing off that for sure. That feels better. And this, additive specular power, crank that up. Hmm. Yeah, right. No, thank you. All right. I think that the negative contrast on that works well. All right, this thing was glowing like crazy before, but of course now can't. So, mouse reflection, blah, blah, blah. Um, standard shader now. Mission. The orange range. Start cranking that up. Come back a bit. Make a color mask. But let's see what we can do here. Not sure what the normals are like on this thing. Looks like it doesn't have much in the way of normals. Oh, this one works. Okay. Okay. Cool. It's all in the contrast. And if you look, you can see that depending on the obliqueness of the angle of looking at it, the color changes. And that's a big deal in terms of making it feel like it's a light source. The less directly you look at it, the darker it gets. That's a big, big deal. All right. I'm sold. Time to finish. Um, yeah, right. What this does mean, though, is that when I'm not able to do a color, um, it's trouble. Because you don't get that oblique angle thing going on. But here we are. And we're getting reflectivity off of the high emissive values, which is good. very green, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just different. What happens if I shift it more this direction? I can do all sorts of weird things to this. Given my druthers, I'd combine this thing completely differently now. Which maybe I will. Although that does look kind of cool. But it's overglowing there in the middle. And I'm not happy about that. It'll live for now. The Rorqual really makes out like a bandit on this. This really worked out well. The AI one too. That worked out really well for them. Oh, look at that. So shiny, so smooth. I can't take away the specular from these guys. That's what those little shiny highlights are. All right. So, in an ideal world, I'm going to chop the thrusters off the arc. Remap those with the stuff on the tail. And yeah, what do I got? So we got a main body, 32 vents, 1300 vents, bottom vents. Okay, why are these even separate? Why did I do it this way? Okay. Well, I will take care of this in a minute. For now, yeah, I think I like this. How do my where are they? Wormholes, how do those look? They look fine. Less stroby. People may be able to actually tell them apart better now too. Yeah, these look great. They don't need the bloom. How do these not need the bloom? Are you kidding me? All that work on these and they don't need the bloom. I mean, I love that they don't. It's fantastic not to need something that not only costs performance but has been a continual headache. But it's also a little baffling. All right, so let's check this in. So, um, what have I done here? What were the net changes? First of all, I need to make sure I commit this core scene stuff. I'm going to have to duplicate that in the other two projects as well. But one step at a time. Did I change the IBL source in the end? Yes, it did. All right, so new IBL light source that is much bluer and also brighter. Changing the look of the far dark side of ships and objects. No more bloom. After much experimentation on video, even, bloom was found to be lacking in a lot of ways. We've come up with a way to get the glowy look simply by using HDR emissive materials, emissive colors that give the illusion of glow thanks to changing shades at oblique angles. Updated the version of Amplify shader editor that we're using. Added the ability to disable reflections and or specular highlights into our shaders. I don't think there's anything else that I did that's actually publicly coming out just yet. There's other stuff that I did, but that's not in the what will be release notes yet. Whew. All right. All that stuff is checking in. I can still do some cuts because this is not going to affect the original. So, should have Mesh Maker in here. Yep, sure do. Haven't used Mesh Cutter too much. I'm just going to put it here for now. Arc parts. Okay, fine. All materials, yeah. Oh, okay, I see. Invert selected, yeah. Okay, so this is a lot like the other thing. Oh, dear God, stop. Stop, stop, stop. I said stop. Holding control, dragging. I stopped holding control. I stopped holding the mouse button. Stop dragging. Okay, finally. I guess it's just laggy because it's a big, big model. But I've used the other thing on meshes that are actually a lot larger than this. The mesh cutter. All right, cool. Got the whole engine. Okay. That whole engine. And cut. Arc parts 2, I don't know, whatever. It's doing something. I guess I could crack this open in Max, or I could throw it over to Blue and she can do it in Maya. But I thought maybe I could just do this as a quick operation here. It's still committing my stuff to SVN at a whopping speed of 1 kilobyte a second. I have a 100 meg a second uplink here. Although actually I've measured it 500 megs a second a couple times. Fiber, it's awesome. But it's not in any hurry to connect. Oh, look at this. Arc parts 2.prefab. Fine. Go for it. Do your thing. So what did you do? Did you cut this off? Is it actually separate? Hey, look what you did. Good for you. Little mesh cutter. Look at that. I'm not going to keep it. The pieces, I'm going to combine them. I don't want a third piece. Would you look at that? They did a good job. All right. Okay, so we have this arc parts thing. It's got a mesh collider, which I don't want. Put this in here. Now, first of all, main body no longer contains that at all. Hurrah. Vents in these arc parts are all one piece. So I'm going to hit these are all using the same shader, right? Core replacement emissive. Yeah, okay, cool. So add selected in children. It'll make that as an atlas. Atlas name. Arc engines and vents. Bake. That's going to take a little while. Once that's done, I need to make sure the main body has its mesh saved out appropriately. Assuming it does, then good to go from there on. All right, looking pretty good. Main body, what's happening with you? You've got a mesh called arc. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, okay. So it left. Oh, what do you know? Look at that. All right. I dig it. Oh, bah. The bump map. Kidding me. Engines events. Goodbye. It's not really dead. Just need to turn back on these renderers. Okay, now in all of these vents, engine, da da da. You're not a normal map. You're a default texture type. You're just a texture 2D. Yep, yep, yep. Don't care. Okay. Clear. Add that. Yep. Bake. Wait. Same. Oh, need an atlas name. Yep. Arc. Engines and vents. We'll have normal maps that aren't awful. And I haven't said why I wanted to split these out. You probably guessed it already. But the reason is that I want to be able to have two separate emissive values that are, or emissive colors that are in the HDR range and that are not perfectly white, and I don't want the engines to be green, and I want the engines to be very bright, and I don't want the lights on the main body to be so darn bright, because those things are not very compatible with one another. They just don't look right. All right, arc engines and vents. For arc 1 here. And our dear old arc parts 1 and 2, just throw that in here too, why not? I don't actually need this. I don't need this bit anymore. All right, so we've got ourselves our arc engines and vents. Arc parts gone, arc bottom vents, yeah. That and the main body. Okay. That's now arc parts here, which really would be more helpful as arc main body. Sweet, whoops, not that. Sweet, there. Get rid of that. now we have a 2-mesh thing. Yep, go ahead, fix now. Now you can fix it. Should have two to, no, just one to fix. Now, this looks identical, basically, but actually one-ish less draw call, fewer draw calls. Now the HDR, fix this. There we go. Nicely done. This will be fine in a minute. For now, brightness on this can come way down. And we can come back into the green range on it. And there's something that's just bugged me forever. Sorry, blue, but just don't know what it is really. It doesn't feel right. Crack this open in Photoshop. Wait a second. Where'd that go? Well, it doesn't really matter anymore because even if it overlaps with, whoa boy, that is not what I meant to do. Even if it overlaps with what would have been engines is no longer share a texture, so I don't care anymore. Arc engines and vents, these guys have their own engines and vents emission map right here. So I don't care. That's just me butterfingersing. All right. Why? Main body. Not the right kind of document? No, I think that is the right kind of document. Thank you for your compliance. There's your problem. I'm sorry, I just don't feel like it should be flames here. So take the reds and the yellows and just desaturate those and darken them, I guess. We'll actually shift them to blues, maybe. Kidding. What a weird. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Well, yeah. Whoa, no. Now we have a funky blackish panel here. And now we'll colorize it, try and blend it in a little bit at least. Here we go. Missed a couple of little pieces on there. Good enough. So the first ship Blue did for the game a long time ago. Things have evolved since then. Hey, what are you doing? Well, that's weird. Have I got some sort of overlap? Oh, I do. What's this? Wait, what? Thought that was chopped off. Could have sworn I saw that was chopped off. Arc parts. There we go. Boom. Fixed. Oh, that probably was because of me zooming in and out. That's what it was. Okay. So we got the arc body diffuse. What am I editing? Arc 1 materials. Yeah, that's gone. Still gone. Mission map, still there. Lord. Need that anymore. Yeah. There should be. Okay, cool. That kills it completely. Thank goodness. I'm tired. I'm sorry, Blue. I really am. But was very, very tired of that. I love this arc. I did not like that piece. All right, now main body renderer. Want to have the feeling of those original ones. There we go. But with the feeling of a bit of HDR to them. Cool. I think that's being accomplished. Great. Engines and vents. This one now comprises a lot of stuff. And it's time to brighten this thing. Turn that off. Ooh. I like. Do I want to shift? It's too much. Feels peculiar. Undo, undo, undo. This feels like it's the most lit. Something's not right though. Okay, so we're doing pretty good. However, it's time to edit the emission map directly. So, in that case, I think it's these. Let's just try doing that real quick. Because I think if I corrupt the color on those, okay, that corrupted that one. I think if I corrupt the color on these, get something interesting. All right, there we go. Yeah. Thought something like that might happen. Okay. These go to there, and those go to there. Let's down it a bit. Wow, brightness 99, and it's still. All right, let's see what this is doing to the butt. Oh, that's weird. Not unexpected, but still weird looking. Okay, prefer something in this realm. Here we go. That looks hot, purpley hot. Okay. Take these, we'll shift them more to the blue range because I want more blue hot. This is going to change the whole dynamic of the color, I expect. Saved it, right? Yeah. Okay, guess it's not going to change the whole dynamic of the color. See what I can do now. Okay, so I can get away with a lot lower values now. I like the kind of searchlighty feel of it. It's hard to get real good crispness on this. Crispness. Last thing I'm gonna give a shot here before I call it is let's up the brightness. And what should happen is this should trend to white faster, which means that I can adjust these other pieces slower. Okay, so that trended to white very fast. As expected, that stayed very, very reddish. I mean, orangish. We're not insanely high in the color range anymore. Still seeing the middles there, and that's a little on the too red side anyway. So we'll go up a little more, just to 20. Cool. Cool. All right. And then let's fix this thing real quick. We do have an LOD1, but those need to go away. And this stuff can go in the materials. Tidy up here a little bit. Okay, this thing is dead. Whoa. Okay, yeah. Whatever. It was supposed to be dead. This should be arc parts. Whoa. What you doing there, arc part? Oh, wrong thing. There we go. Arc main body. Bottom vents A, yep, gone. Engines, vents, that's also gone. All right. So these are the two things that remain. Arc body. This is the one that we keep. Engines and vents get deleted. Okay. Now, on the outside mesh here, we have arc main body is the first thing. Second Okay, yeah. So we got two LOD chains here. Main body, first one, main body, and we'll just put main body. Engine vents, engine vents, engine vents, engine vents. Did I just put the body in there? What'd I do? I think I did. Okay. And that's, I need this pivot fixed. So tools, quick edit, edit selected mesh, center pivot, give that a shot. Save changes, yes. There we go. I think that's a little high. Yes, it is. Fortunately, I thought about this and came prepared. Oh. Okay, so I can just adjust this for both at once. Well, I really did think of a lot of stuff. Probably 7.5, no, 4.8. And I guess that was right. Looks like it was. How are we doing on this side? Looking good. No visible seam. Obviously, nobody's going to be ramming their nose up at that close anyway, but still. All right. I should be able to hit apply. Not set to selectable ship on one of these or both of those, whatever. Instancing is not on. Oh, good. I'm glad I'm reminding everyone of that. Excellent. So that's done. Yeah. Now we have new version of the arc. Gonna check that in real quick. Holy moly. This wouldn't be such a frustrating aspect of this project if I hadn't basically sat down and done this for, at the moment it's been 3 hours straight so far, but this is like the at least 10th time I've done this. So, that's probably 30 plus hours of just fighting with the stupid bloom. and other aspects of the post-processing or material stuff, but it all comes back to Bloom one way or another. I'm going to take a quick break here and make me an LOD1 using my old friend Mesh Simplify. So engines and vents right now, 3917. Let's see if we can get that down to 50%. Wow, that just wrecks it. 70. Wow. You were just getting eaten. What the heck? The number of polygons in this is not sufficient to warrant reduction on something that's going to be shown once. This is different though, the main body. This is probably worthwhile. I'm not sure if Mesh Simplify is going to be up to this challenge or not. Let's try and do 60% and we'll see how badly this wrecks it. Now, granted, this is for a lower level of detail, so we're only going to see this when we're further zoomed out, but holy cow, that seems to look almost identical. That's the difference. Okay, so we got a hole that appeared right there. Whoa, that's a nasty hole though. Man, it's a bummer. Because this was really rocking otherwise. Try that again. This time without the use curvature on. May need to export this to an FBX and then use Moo tools to see if I can make a better LED one. Not real, yeah, it's not, no good, Mesh Simplify. It's great for a lot of things, but not for this particular sort of purpose where it's just so big. And yeah, so we're going to do arc sizer, selected objects, it's a single FBX. I'll just put it in here, sure. Arc sizer, fine, whatever. Now it's importing it back. This is the FBX exporter by Unlogic Software, as you can probably see. Unity's got a beta one that's their own. I don't know what to think about that yet. Could be good. I'm gonna delete these because I don't care about any of that. I'm gonna take this, and it's pink because I deleted those, which I still don't care. Now, engines and vents. Do you work? Slightly different, not much. Main body, do you work? Yep. All right. So now, main body, engines and vents, engines and vents. I now have a baseline. Now it's time for Moo tools. That's from something else I was working on. Final game meshes, arcs, arc1. Use this as my folder. Open this up. Polygon cruncher. Okay, compute optimization. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and say normals within a 30-degree range. Right. Okay, so that's too much. This is fine. Cool. Save as arc sizer 2. I'm gonna rename that. Okay. Arc sizer should really be arc exported LOD 0. Arc LOD 1. Now, there's a test here, main body, engines events. Whoa, that's off. Oh, scale. There we go. Forgot to retain the texture map, so we shall try this again. Keep UV textures, kind of important. Normals, 30. It's not always important to keep the UV textures, but at the moment it certainly is. So down this to here. So nope, here. It's having bigger jumps now because of the UV textures being something that has to keep. LED 1. All right, keep faces, blah, 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 textures, blah, 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 blah. Yep, all good. So this should work this time. It's going to be 100 times too small though. Frequent issue in going back and forth between Maya and all these other various programs. Cool, that looks good. It's busted up some, but not hugely, and at a distance you won't be able to tell at all. Arc main body. Gosh, that is a good reduction. It's a really good reduction. All right, so that is now my LOD1, and it's a really good one too. Arc engines events, arc main body. Now, when do I want to switch to LOD1 at this point? I'm going to say at 100 now. So with this selected, see how far away I am. 42 displaying LED 0. The distance is going up. We just changed to LED 1. Oh man, that's slick. LED 1, LED 0, LED. Oh man, that is a heck of a lot of polys that are saved suddenly. I love Move Tools. Those guys are good. All right. So We're now several draw calls safer on the arc. I think it looks better, and it is going to be ridiculously more efficient on your machine most of the time, because you're rarely within 100 of it. When you are, it'll be as efficient as it ever was. Yeah, revised version of Arc 1 that splits up the textures and meshes a bit differently, mainly for purposes of the bloomless HDR emission. Also redid the LOD1 of this, and that kicks in way faster and saves a lot of vertices throughout most gameplay situations. Cool. All right. So now that's done as well. And that'll check in, and let me make sure this is in the right asset bundle still. Yep, it is. All right. That's everything for now. Thanks for watching.